Hey, this is Steven from Steven's Classic Garage. Hopefully you guys see quite a bit more videos from me on this channel. I'm going to try to shoot videos every weekend, at least one. We'll see. Some weekends I might miss it because I'm on vacation or whatever. I'm actually going to be on vacation next weekend. That is going to be one of the things, one of the days that I'll be missing. But I have a couple videos that I want to do today, and so let's go ahead and jump in. I have some stuff for the Mustang, and these are for the Rabbit. And I have a couple parts for the Rabbit that I'm going to be making that I'm going to be installing when I finish gathering all the data. Because I do also kind of want to add a little bit of an engineering spin on this channel a little bit, so we kind of justify these changes that we are making. And so I explain the thought process on coming up with these ideas of why I'm buying this, why I'm upgrading to this, etc. So we have a couple parts, and also we have quite a bit of data that I want to talk about on some of the things that we could improve on what I call for the Rabbit the road to turbo. So again, two things for road to turbo are temperature and also for cooling. Cooling and braking. So temperature control, good temperature control, and also braking. So braking, I am working on a little bit, figuring out what kind of brakes I'm going to change to, and when I order that stuff, we will talk about it when that time comes. So I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible compared to my last video I made of this. And I think here I have quite a bit of data. So one of the things, speaking of which, let me bring this to the other screen and let me look for it. 1970. Okay, there it is. Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. Oops. Okay, so basically, one of the things that I wanted to get in control is not necessarily having to do with the turbo, but in general, it's for ease of driving, and I would definitely like to do it before the turbo, and it's going to be pretty easy to fix. I actually do have one part for it. I actually have two parts for it, and I'll show you the second part. So again, I don't know if you remember, but we talked about it. I talked about it briefly in my YouTube video, so let's go ahead and look at that YouTube video again. But pretty much what I was doing was I was showing you guys me looking around the car, and we saw that there is this heater box, right? And there's this heater area where pretty much the intake is, that's where the intake inside the car is coming from. Now, basically the idea, so here it is. So pretty much the idea here is what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about this intake again here on this side for the inside of the cab in the car. We talked a little bit about the intake here, and I want to talk further about that. We do have some updated information on that, so that will probably be the second video for today, and then the third video is going to be on the Mustang. So here, of course, we have this this tray here, and then here's the tray here that doesn't let water go inside your heater box if it's perfect. In my case, I have some holes and stuff, so water can still drip inside. But basically, the idea is that there is this box, and then the idea is that in the hood there are holes, and then the air comes across, and goes down into your intake into the car, which either you have the motor on or off. Now, there are two holes here, one here and one here, so that if rain gets down there, rain can fall inside of the engine bay and inside the corner of the engine bay and fall out onto the street. Now, normally there's supposed to be a rubber grommet that goes there, and I actually found the rubber grommet. So let me show you guys where you guys could get that. and I bought it for 20 bucks because I've been recently going through going through eBay looking for this kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and show you that. Let's see if it'll load. So in the meantime, it's loading. Wow, what's going on here? It's very, very slow for some reason. Oh, there it goes. So I did buy the grommets here. So these grommets go inside that metal piece, and pretty much what they are they're rubber, and they close up almost all the way. They close up here, and then when water gets on top, they open, they let the water come out. So if there's any sort of weight on here, these are so thin and so flexible that it lets the water drain out, but it does not let a lot of the heat come in. And then on the passenger side, you have the tube for your sprayer go through there. And so this is going to be a big upgrade, and we're going to do some more testing after I install these guys. I don't know when they're coming in. This case, Monday the 19th, so it would be 9 days, but today's Saturday. I think I ordered it Saturday last week, so maybe this coming Monday I'll have it. I'll have to look at the tracking details. I might look at it on the other screen. So if you don't already have this on your Rabbit, definitely get this. This is going to really help keep you from sucking in hot air in here. So again, that grommet goes here and goes here on the other side, and 23 bucks, $3 shipping, $3.50 shipping from Indio, California, which is already in California, so it's great for me. And that's what the Rabbits use stock. My neighbor's car also has this on it, and so I know for sure it's definitely a stock item. So I don't know, it might be a reproduction, but and here's a scuttle tray, I guess they call it. But this might be a reproduction, but very, very similar to the original, and I'm sure going to have similar performance to the original. Oops. So again, get that guy if you don't already have it and you just have holes here. Don't tape it like I did. Put the right thing that goes in there, and that's the right thing that goes in there. So now I don't have to print anything. So now we have limited the heat that could possibly come up through the holes, go inside, and then go down, which I'm pretty sure I looked at that. Yeah, so it's right up in there. Anyways, so now we have those plugged off. So now a big thing is, what I'm curious about is what I talked about in the last video, which was where the heat, oh, there you go. See the holes? If you have holes like that, then you need to plug them with those rubber grommets. And here I'm showing what the rubber grommet is, and I finally found some, so that's good. Anyways, so the next question is whether or not it's getting so hot here behind the engine that this is heating up, that we're getting a lot of heat exchange through convection, like I said, which are two moving fluids. Which is one stationary piece of solid material and then a moving fluid, usually air or water. So in this case, we have air going across here and sucking some heat inside. That's one option, and the other option is that there's this valve here. And this valve is basically what controls the heater inside the car. So this is what allows heat to go inside or not go inside. And if you notice here, it's actually, this is a closed. So all the way this way, with the rod pushed all the way out, that is cold, and pulled all the way in, that's hot. So if you notice here, there's a little spot here and a little spot here. Now, if it's all the way touching this side, it's for cold air. For cold, so it does not let any fluid in. The valve is completely closed. And you notice that it's 90 degrees. So the valve is completely closed. Now, this other way, this way, the valve is a little bit even past open. So let me go ahead and show you guys that with this. So here's the valve itself. So this way is closed, right? And if we look here, you can see that this is this here. So yes, this guy here is closed, and then this is all the way open. So this lets all the fluid in and this closes the fluid off. And if you notice in this picture, I actually had somebody bring this up in one of my comments, is that it's not all the way closing. So I'll talk to you guys about fixing that in a second. So you can see that when I push all the way on the heater control down to cold, which should shut off this valve, it's not closing all the way. So I think that there is heat leaking in and causing the temperature to increase. So pretty much this guy's got to go, see here it's all the way open, it's got to go all the way over here and closed. So now one way of fixing this, which we'll see if we need to do this, if it's actually causing an issue, because we do have some data with the probe stuck inside the vent inside my car. So temperature probe. So basically one way of doing it is that this throw is a certain distance, right? That if you measured it, it's continuous distance, whether you do from hot to cold, hot to cold, hot to cold. It's going to go, the difference between pretty much from hot and then from it coming out to cold is going to be the throw distance. Now, this has a certain radius away, and so in order to do this certain degree of a circle, which looks to be about 90 degrees, actually looks almost 90 degrees, maybe even like 75 degrees. But it looks very, very close to 90 degrees. So in order to go 90 degrees, it needs to, with this particular throw that your heater controls can do, one of the things that we can do is we could shorten this up. So we unscrew this thing, cut this off, and then we could round it because we have it taken off, and then put the hook back on there, right? Put the hook hole over here somewhere. That way, when we push it all the way, it'll actually go all the way closed or all the way open for the heater itself. So, but let's go ahead and see if that is actually a factor. So that's one way of fixing it. That's the easiest way of fixing it. So either the valve is messed up, and we'll see right now if either it's messed up or if it's over here somewhere, it doesn't actually close any further because we have some values. So let's see here. So drive home. So this is drive in the morning. So here, driving to work with probe and vent, hot water valve completely closed. So this side is with the valve completely closed. So basically what I did is I went inside the hood, and I just pulled this guy until this closed all the way. And I should have taped it, but I looked after I drove home and it was still closed. So it was still closed all the way through. And then I had this with normal where it wasn't completely closed, and it was just where I would push the heater control all the way to one side. So this is probe inside car from, and these are both the same day. These are both the same day, whether it's driving to work or driving home, driving to work, driving home. So here, ambient, and both of them I have the ambient temperature. So 65 to 70 degrees, and it wasn't Celsius. And this is drive home 78F. So you can see it was very, very hot that day. It went up another 8 degrees towards the later end of the day. So right here we have the temperature plotted, and remember we have to take this in respect to 65 to 70 degrees. We can think of it as 70 degrees. So if we look here on this guy over here, we see that we have ambient is 71. So ambient 71 degrees. And at 71 degrees, we are up at 80. Let's see at the start. So here at 65 to 70 degrees, and then this one's 71 degrees. It seems like we're up at 82, and here we're up at 71. And as you see, as we continue, it is increasing temp. So what I'm not gonna look at the variable between basically the difference between the ambient and this, because the ambient could be off. The ambient's going to change with relative to where I am. What I'm going to look at is the temperature increase, because this is from startup, right? So as the engine heats up, we're going to get a bigger increase here because we have fluid going inside the car. So if you see here, we start out at 71.65, and then we can look also at the time here. I believe this time, and we could also look at the samples. Each sample is 10 seconds. So we go from 2 to 2:30, so this would be 2:34. Says 23 minutes and 60 seconds, right? So you do this calc 23.4 times 0.10. Oops. 23.4 times 0.10 equals 23 minutes and 40 seconds, right? So this was after 23 minutes and 40 seconds, and this is at, I believe these times are in, it's definitely not 9. Car drive to work. So this was definitely a drive to work. So this was at almost 10 o'clock, right? And I think that was drive home. I guess I was really, really late getting to work on this day for some reason. Or it's messed up, one of the two. Okay, so you can see we start off at 72 degrees, 71, 65, minus. We go all the way down. You can see that we're heating up. Maximum temp is 86.18 as we turn the car off. So we went up almost 15 degrees Fahrenheit, while ambient probably went up 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit, if it went up at all. So here you can see 14 and a half degrees. Now let's look at this one. So here, obviously way higher than ambient, but we're not going to look at that. We're going to look at how much it changes. Ooh, we can see. But this I could swear that this is drive home. For some reason, it's messed up. Let's look at this one. So this is drive home. I guess it says 85 degrees. I don't know if that's completely accurate, but let's see. So 76.8 is what we start out with. So let's open up another calculator. 76.8. It looks like the maximum, we're still going. Saw 98. And we're going down. That's 21 degrees. So we start off 76 and we go up to 98 degrees. So maybe we might have a leaking valve in this case. It might not be closing all the way. So that might be a possibility. So let's look at this one, and then let's look at this one. So this is driving car to work, probe and vent, hot water valve completely closed. So here we're starting out at 82.56 minus. And here we're going up to 105. 107. It's also 22. So very, very consistent. But you can see here that we're staying pretty low. That it goes up there. I was probably sitting in traffic for a while, and then the sun was baking down on it, and I didn't really have any airflow coming through. So let's see, can we run an average? Let's run an average. So average is 95, and then let's look at the min. I don't know if I could do this. Let's see. Yeah, 80.6. So 95.15 minus 80.6 equals 14.55. Okay, so that's good. So let's look at this one. Let's do the same deal. Ooh, so that's only 9. What about this one? This one's only 2. Wait a second. This is problem cabin vent. So this goes over here. This one goes over here. Okay, so now we look really, really good here. Ooh, yeah, this is a good... So this one might not be the right one then. Drive car to work. So it's driving to work. But this one I'm driving home. Yeah, 78F, that's in the afternoon. So, and I think this is the most recent footage. And I did notice while driving that it was quite a bit cooler than it normally is. So that we definitely had that on our side. So pretty much what it looks like is here, car drive home. And then this is really very, very hot outside temperature. So so 76.46 minus 91.85 is going to be a negative number, obviously, but so that's 15 degrees, and then this one's 2 degrees, right, from start to finish. And then this is only 4 degrees, so at maximum, it jumps 8 degrees compared to ambient, which is really, really good. Because again, ambient's changing as far as where we go. So it could at some points have been 80, it could have been less. But let's say 78 degrees Fahrenheit average. So, but I don't know what happened here. It looks like some stuff was all over the place. So I don't know what happened here, because it's jumping up and down erratically, pretty much. And I think that this is heavy traffic at this point. So it's skewing the data because sun is beating down on that vent and causing the air to heat up. Or I'm staying stationary and the air is sitting inside that scuttle tray and it doesn't have anywhere to go, and then there's a lot of heat transfer through the floor of that scuttle tray, right? So, because this one, I'm sure that this is a long one, so this is from 2 to 480. So that's 48 minutes. That's about a 50-minute drive home. So that's definitely a longer time sitting in traffic. Now this one is 2. Oh, this is a short one. 2. So this is a 25-minute. This is a 25-minute drive to work. Looks like. Oh, drive home. I might have drove home on that one at 2 o'clock. So what I'm thinking is that this is definitely an issue, that it's not closing all the way. And you can see here that these two, which are both inside the vent with just regular heater box closed. This one we have a 9 degree. This one we have a 5 degree or so. This one, I don't know what happened with this one, why we have a 40 something, while we have a 5. Wait. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, this is a 15 degree delta here, because I'm thinking that that's a really, really long drive home. But so is this one. This one's 571, so this is a 57-minute drive home. So this one, why is it exactly that? I don't know. So maybe this is dirty data here. The data here is probably messed up, or the probe didn't go all the way in, or whatever. So obviously, I'm kind of trying to match it to meet a conclusion, but I don't think that is the case, because this is pretty erratic here. You could see it here. That's pretty erratic, and I think it has a lot to do with maybe where I was. It was way hotter than that, and so I would sit in the traffic abnormally long here, and it would get super hot, and then I would start to move and drop, get stuck in traffic, and go. That's why you have this sawtooth looking piece here. And then here it's very, very smooth. Here the graph is at the bottom. Here it's extremely smooth. And here it's nearly flat. So what I think we should do is look at either getting a new valve, but I think that the valve it has the same sort of throw here, which I think was just on VW's part, the German manufacturer part, was a big issue on getting that throw right. I think just that throw was not right. And one of the things that I bought for the car is I have a Cami, what is it? It's a Cami, yeah, it's a Cami front hood scoop, period correct hood scoop to push more air inside of the scuttle tray to help with intaking more air and being able to drive with windows up. So we have that. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So that is basically this, and this is it installed on a car. But mine doesn't have the ribs. I don't know why that one's got ribs on it. It looks like that. Oh, this is a reproduction one. That's basically what mine looks like. It's got some imperfections here or whatever, but it's all original, pretty cool. But mine doesn't have the these pins, so I'm just gonna, and I didn't want to use the pins anyway, so I'm just gonna use some adhesives here, and it seals really, really nice. And this part right here is for your sprayer, so this will help me intake a lot of air. It looks kind of funky with a light paint job, but with the dark paint job that I do plan on the car, I think it'll look pretty sweet. So I think this will help a lot for my drivability on the inside of the car and get that taken care of. And the last cheap thing that I think that we need to do is okay, so thermal. Okay, so let's see. Does this have what I'm looking for? Okay. Ooh, doesn't have it. Anyways, okay. So basically, let's look at these two. So one of my ideas, which is to have here, is to lower this thermal conductivity through here to the air. So one of my ideas is to shoot rubberized undercoating or bed liner inside, or shoot it or paint it inside the scuttle tray here, so that when I am stopped in traffic and this heats up, there's going to be very bad thermal conductivity to the air when it's sitting there stationary. I don't think I have that big of an issue with when the air is moving, but showing you guys this one right here, you can see that when I stop, it does increase drastically. So let's say that this wasn't dirty data, and then from here we can see that drastically increase in temperature when sitting still. So yeah, so basically if we look at some common materials here, there should be some rubber in here, so that rubber natural is, and this is units of watts per meter Kelvin at 25C, which is around 77 degrees Fahrenheit room temperature, pretty much. So this is rubber. So this is very low, rubber cellular and or rubber natural 0.13. So 0.13 watts per meters Kelvin. Now, if we look at, does this have, oh, this does, but it doesn't say, but does it have iron? what does it have? And it has aluminum. I think aluminum is going to have really, really high aluminum. Oh, I see. It's got like a... Oh, you click on it. So bronze, brown iron ore, 0.58. So remember, we're at 0.14. So let's look at that. I think you could click on it. That's why it's steel. Thermal conductivity of steel. Steel, carbon. 54 watts per meter Kelvin. And temperature is in C, and degrees are in Fahrenheit. There we go, toggle Fahrenheit. So you guys don't have to convert it, but 23 is about room temperature. So yeah, this is about 70 degrees. It's 54. And even at its highest carbon content, this is low carbon steel. So this is 1050 steel. This is I don't know if they even make this. 1.5 steel. That's like really, really high hardenable steel. Steel with chromium. So we're talking about like steel with chromium is basically either chromoly steel or stainless. Stainless uses chromium in order to become stainless, but you can see it starts to drop lower and lower. But we have regular steel in there, and so that is basically we have from. It's just going to be low carbon steel, so it's a 54, and it does have paint on it, but it's just single base coat, really, really thin. Really, really thin, most likely. So if we go down here, rubber. Oh, rubber's 0.13. So let's look at that. So it doesn't matter what steel you're going to use. Rubber is way better. So 0.13. So rubber is 415 times more thermally isolative, not conductive, but isolative than steel. So it's a far better insulator. So that's number one. Number two, it doesn't absorb moisture. So it'll also protect the paint, because there is paint underneath there as well. But if any water gets in there and tries to go underneath the paint, that rubberized undercoating will seal it up. And that stuff is very, very cheap to get your hands on. If we look here, this will be the last thing because we're already in 32 minutes. I think I even have some in my garage. So they have rubberized undercoating from either Rust-Oleum, 3M, truck bed coating. So basically just make sure that it has rubber, some sort of rubber in it. But make sure that you coat everything, because what will happen is the rubber does have sealing qualities. So what happens is a lot of cars, they spray the rubber, but you have to make sure that the rubber on the underside of the car, but you have to make sure that the rubber is intact. Because if there is ever a breach in that seal, water will get in there, and then the rubber will basically keep any air from getting at the rubber and keeping the water inside. So basically the water will get underneath the rubber, and then it will wick on top of the steel and just rot the steel out. So a lot of people, they have these kind of liners underneath their car, and then when they peel it off, there's rust underneath like crazy, because what happens is the rubber seals the metal it seals the metal both ways. So if it's sprayed on there with a nice coat, it will completely insulate the metal. But if you don't do that, it will leach. It'll basically leach through the steel. It'll get underneath the rubber, and the water will grab on the steel, oxidize the steel, causing rust and cause the steel to eventually rot out. So make sure that if you do use it, make sure that you check the coating and make sure that there is no cracks. So basically, but whatever you check, make sure that it has rubber on the inside. So if you could look at the contents of it, make sure that it has rubber on the inside. But in the meantime, before I do that, I want to make sure that I check this theory by I do want to get a sensor that you put on the bottom of your phone that you could see a thermal image of what everything, the temperature of everything's at. So definitely want to have that before the turbo, and I think that would be great for this project as well as some of my other commercial projects for the small business I'm working on, and maybe even work. So I'm going to be working on that as well. Might be ordering it today. I'm going to do a little bit more research, and that will help us get a test before and after, so you guys can see what this coating is actually doing to help us in this state to make sure that this convection through the material doesn't happen. Alright, so basically that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. So we're going to go forward. One of the things that we can do before I do anything, install anything on the car, I do want to use that sensor, and before I stop, so for example I drive to work, before I stop the engine I could, or right as I stop the engine I could pop the hood and we could look at these temperatures inside the engine and see these different hot spots and stuff that we need more airflow so we could keep it cooler, and then also the segregation between the engine bay and the air that we suck inside of the car itself. Alright, so this is Steven from Steven's Classic Garage. Thank you guys for watching this video. So obviously one of the things that we need to work on is this heater valve. So we'll have a mod for this where we could, I'll do the calculations here with a caliper and see exactly what this distance is and figure out what that angle is that we're doing here, and then figure out exactly how long this rod's supposed to be to give us the most resolution on that heater control, so that when we move it from the left to the right, it opens all the way and closes all the way, so that way we get the most resolution. Because right now it's going, I don't think it's even fully closing, so it's going from like here to here. So this guy's way too long because it's going only up to here or so, the edge, and then only going up to like here. So it's only doing like 30 degrees. It's just too long of this arm right here. So we'll work on that. Otherwise, this has been Steven from Steven's Classic Garage, and I will see you guys in a couple of my videos later today. And then from then on, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take it easy. Peace.